In the heart of the city, Seoul, a new rhythm emerges. From the depths of the industrial landscape, a sound is forged. Proudly hosting the Deep Culture Steeltown Sessions live show. Join our live recording and podcast. 20% off everything from 9 King Sing the Deep Culture Steeltown Daily. Welcome to Element Cannabis Superstore, 5 King Street East. Enjoy our daily power hour. 20% off everything. Proudly hosting the Deep Culture Steeltown Sessions.
We got more stops. This one's heavy. Almost there. Push it up.
6th episode of Steeltown Sessions with me, your host, Cy Williams, and I am at Element at 5 King Street East here in beautiful downtown Hamilton, at basically the corner of James and King. It is a spring day here in Hamilton. There's so much going on. I am broadcasting live from our street level studio at the Element Cannabis Superstore. My, what an amazing shop this is, and what a cannabis tourism destination. If you have not been out to the downtown core of Hamilton yet, and you have not checked out the Element Cannabis shop, you are truly missing out. And today is your day. Today is the day that Hamilton celebrates Canna Crawl. That's right, Canna Crawl is today, with over 80 speakers, vending booths, the entire community turning out to celebrate cannabis culture, to celebrate commitment to excellence, and how far we have come as a sector, as a group, as a space. First, some housekeeping. Element Cannabis is our host, and they have so many amazing things going on, and this is why I call them a cannabis tourism destination. Impeccably curated collections of flower, of concentrates, some of the best of the best here. This is a beautiful shop, and they offer back so many savings and deals to the customers. Every single morning between 9 a.m. and 10 p.m., 20% off everything in the store. So if you show up here at 5 minutes after 10, you're going to miss out. If you show up here between 9 and 10, no, that's 20% off. And every day here at Element Cannabis, we have some amazing deals going on. Mondays are Munchie Mondays, where you save on all things edible. Tuesdays, pre-roll Tuesdays, and savings all day long on pre-rolls. Wednesday is Weedy Wednesdays, and there's deals on high volume. Let me tell you, I was looking at the calendar a little while ago, and I saw beautiful flower one for 95. Wow, that's a pretty good price. Thursdays are tropical Thursdays, and that's the day you want to come in and really stock up on your health and wellness products, your topicals, and more. Friday is my favorite day of all, because I just love to say it. I love what it's all about. It's Big Bag Friday, and that's where you get deals on high volume ounces and more. Saturdays are Shatterdays, and today is Shatterday, and that's where you find amazing deals on concentrates and extracts and all things under that category. Sundays are our Senior Sundays, and if you're a senior, I'm not a senior yet, but one day I will be. And let me tell you, this savings for the seniors out there. So you can come out any day of the week. Try to come out between 9 and 10. It is vibrant. Now, this episode of Steeltown Sessions is fueled by High Boy Slapjacks. And I tell you, if I want to get something going in the morning, Slapjacks by High Boys, that is the shit. And that's how I start my day, this show, and this is the 6th consecutive week that we have kicked off Steeltown Sessions fueled by High Boys Slapjacks. And I'll probably be taking a break. It's a long day for us today. It's the first 8 hours of a 24 marathon. And I think Slapjacks is up to the challenge, honestly, to keep you fueled, to keep you chatty, So we have some guests that we're having today, and that's amazing. We're going to have a plethora of interesting people popping in and out of our street level studio. Because it's Canada Crawl and there's also a puff and paint going on, I'm going to be stepping out doing man on the street for at least an hour at the Canada Crawl event. Pretty exciting to see how far this event has come. And it's pretty exciting to be sitting in the street level studio at 5 King Street East in Hamilton, reporting on all things in our sector over this very, very cool 420 weekend 2026. Yes. Today is 4/18. This is Canada Crawl. There's a lot of celebrations going on. The puff and paint is happening at Hamilton Vape. The Canada Crawl is happening, and it has so much stuff packed into it today. They've been working very, very hard, and I've just been nothing but impressed with Rena and Anthony and the planning crew and what they've managed to put together here in Hamilton. I know for a fact, based on my phone calls, text messages, DMs, and more, that so many people are coming in from everywhere, from as far away as Ottawa, from British Columbia, from different places around the province, because Canada Crawl is the event in Hamilton today. And we are so happy and lucky to be a part of it. And I can't wait to bring some of those people back here for interviews. We're going to have musical guests on today. I have all these guests who are going to be popping in and out of the studio. We'll be joined by our astrological guru, Wandering Star, Vanessa. I believe we have a doctor or two, a few musicians, some guests that are indicative of culture, some guests that are here to celebrate cannabis culture, not just in Hamilton, but in Canada. It'll be the first 8-hour session I've done. This is part one of a 3-day broadcast schedule. I really want to show proof of concept. I want to be able to broadcast live from this street level studio at 5 King Street East in Hamilton for 8 hours a day for the next 3 days. So we will be giving away tickets to a 419 event later today. And that's pretty exciting as well. That's put on by the CCTA, the Canadian Cannabis Tourism Alliance. And they're having an exclusive VIP party in Niagara Falls at the Old Stone Inn. And they have pulled in Chicago legend DJ Snake. So I've got 5 sets of 2 tickets to that event tomorrow. And then we will be back on 420, my favorite day. And we're going to be keeping you informed all day long about the different types of events that are happening, not just here in Hamilton, but in Ontario, in Canada, and around the world. So pretty exciting. It's the future. It's 420, 2026. And I'm like, I can't believe I made it to the future. But we're here, and there are so many activities planned. I've spent a lot of time this week thinking about topics to talk to you about. I want to tell you a story about something strange that happened to me and my producer yesterday in Hamilton. For those of you who don't know, this show is set in Hamilton. We celebrate Steeltown with the Steeltown Sessions. I'm a big fan of Hamilton. So we were coming in on the Skyway yesterday. It was a clear, sunny day. We hit the Skyway and we were suddenly enveloped with the deepest, dankest fog. And it was crazy to see because we couldn't see the ground. I had never seen such fog roll in so quickly. I turned to my producer and I was like, is this normal for Hamilton? And he wasn't sure. So Hamiltonians, does this happen a lot? Does this giant fog roll in off the lake and basically black out the Skyway? I felt I was traveling dimensions, or maybe I was in a strange horror movie, maybe rolling into Silent Hill, or the movie The Mist. But then Paul and I, my producer and I, we looked at each other and we both had this creepy feeling. So when he dropped me off, the fog was gone as soon as we left the bridge, and it made me think of some of the stuff I've seen online recently about the CERN collider and Mandela effects and all these stories about dimensional hopping. Not God, but how many examples in literature of people who are skipping through time and space? It's like, wouldn't it be interesting if, we went through some sort of dimensional rip? So I asked my producer, I'm like, listen, if we're like the evil versions, we're in a mirror universe, you come back and get me, you see anything strange? Now, I am not totally convinced that we are not won over, but the sun is a little brighter, music sounds a little better, people seem a little happier. I haven't checked my bank account yet. So maybe I'm rich in this dimension. Maybe I'm married. Or maybe I drive a nice car. I will figure it out as I go along. The funny thing is, though, I don't even think this is the first time that this has happened. What do you think about dimensions and dimensional hopping? Do you think that the CERN collider had anything to do with that? Yeah. A lot of conspiracy theorists online seem to think so. And hey, you know what? It's always good entertainment. It's always good fun. This is one of the examples of things that we can indeed talk about here at Steeltown Sessions. You know what? We'll poke the conspiracies. We'll talk about current events. And we will bring you the latest on culture in not only Hamilton, but Ontario, Canada, and internationally. So this week past was the ICBC, International Cannabis Business Conference, being hosted in Brooklyn. That's Alex Rogers, and he has been a staple in breaking stigma and putting on world tier events with ICBC. I've been able to, it's been my pleasure to media sponsor quite a few ICBCs over the years. And I have to say, I wish that Alex would bring ICBC here to Hamilton. Alex, Hamilton's ready for you. Bring it on down. Imagine that, the ICBC, the International Cannabis Business Conference, hosted in Hamilton, the true heart of cannabis in Ontario. I think it would be brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, so for those of you who are just joining me, my name is Cy Williams. I am broadcasting live from our street level studio at 5 King Street East in Hamilton. I'm sitting in the window of this cannabis tourism destination, and I'm excited to experience cannabis tourism in all its forms over the next couple of days. 420 and 420 weekend is a big deal in the cannabis space and has been a big deal since pre-legalization. How many of our viewers remember going down to 420 celebrations and seeing plethora of people, so many people on the streets celebrating? And 420 has changed a little bit in Canada, but it does my heart good to look at what other countries like Berlin are doing for their 420s and seeing that upwards of 50 to 100,000 people are turning up. It has been Canada's pleasure to lead by example. We have a mature legal market here, and many countries that have come to the game a little later look to Canada for its advice, and for its perseverance in turning legacy cannabis and illicit market into a legal regulated market. There was a time where I was very critical of legal weed. Early on in the early days of legalization, even before legalization, there were a lot of shiny suits who didn't really know a lot about growing cannabis. They thought they did. It took a few years, and I started to see better and better legal cannabis. And here we are in 2026, and they have finally got their act together. We've had our act together for a while, and there is truly some amazing product on the shelf. I personally, I'm picking my 420 picks. Some of the things that I love to go for, of course, always high boys. It's my number one pick, and their slapbacks is to die for. Now, if I can't find high boy, and I can always find it there, I have a few others that I'm very, very fond of. I love Woody Nelson. I tried one yesterday. I tried High Exotic Smurf, SMRF. So very impressed. I love everything that the Fraser Valley Group brings to the table. I'm particularly fond of Scotia, coming out of the East Coast. Their crab cakes, easily on my consistent top three list of my favorite things to smoke while I'm out and about. Now, one of the things that I love about independent shops, and especially the Element Cannabis Superstore here at 5 King Street, is how perfectly they have curated their collection or selection. And you can tell that there's some real thought and experience and knowledge that has gone into curation. I've gone into independence, and sometimes I see that they take a scattershot approach. Maybe order everything and see what works, not really being in touch with their consumer base. One of the things I love about Element is how in touch with their consumer base they are. They have their finger on the pulse. And I don't know how they do it. And I'm going to bring one of the people here from Element to talk to me about this, to explain to me how they've consistently, over the last 6 shows, been curating some of the best flower that I've seen in stores. And if every store did it like this, oh my goodness, what a happy man I would be. But if you want to see what I'm talking about, come down to the Element Cannabis Superstore at 5 King Street East in Hamilton. You know, I'm looking at this busy street. There's smiling, happy people out there. They always make me laugh, and it, the thing I love about this street level studio is we are right downtown in Hamilton. It is a busy street, bustling with activity. There is a park across the street. There are just slews of people going and coming. And with Canner Crawl hitting Hamilton today, starts at 2 p.m. by the way, I believe, runs till later this evening. This is a great place and a great way to kick off your Canner Crawl experience. You start here, maybe pick up a little something to enjoy on the way over to Canner Crawl. Enjoy the 10-minute walk over to Canner Crawl. Maybe you're creating art at Hamilton Vape as part of Sorel's Puff and Paint. And that's a very amazing event. I look forward to seeing what they're going to be putting together because I love pairing art with cannabis. I love pairing music with cannabis. I love pairing movies and television and YouTube with cannabis. To be honest, I think I pair cannabis with quite a few things. But that's me. What about you? What are your favorite things to pair cannabis with? Are you like me? Do you like to pair it with making videos and watching shows or movies or listening to some beautiful music? Or are you more of a culinary wizard where you want to combine it with some of the magic that comes with the culinary arts? Are you more of a social consumer where you go to the cannabis events like the Bud Tender, the Delight Series? Was it Bud Tender Delight Series that just happened here in Hamilton? Or any of the trade shows or the many, many events that are going on around this particular season. Now, for me, this has always and traditionally been the kickoff of the year for me. It's not January 1st. There has always been a big run towards 420. And it has been this way ever since I entered the industry. And one of the things I fell in love with about our sector and our space was how vibrant our community in space was, how much support was poured out into the streets of all these major cities: Hamilton, Toronto, Ottawa, Vancouver, Victoria, whatever. Watch how much the cannabis industry continues to change. And it's not perfect. And there are so many people out there who are working to tweak it, to change it. And one day we're never, no, nothing is ever perfect. Nothing is ever perfect. I'm being teased. There are people out celebrating the 420 weekend. They're in front of the window. I am watching them consume. Now, for those of you who know my career, I have made a career out of consuming online, but not for Steeltown Sessions. Steeltown Sessions is different. I'm in a big store. I'm in a street level studio. I'm doing it, raw dogging it, to be honest. I do make sure that my creativity is fueled by High Boys. And let me tell you, High Boys does the trick for me every time. I'm a high energy creative person, and I need something that's going to fuel that high creative edge of mine. Slapjacks, High Boys, they do it for me. I also like Pistol in Paris when I can get it. I mentioned that I really do like Scotia, but I love trying new things. It it always astounds me that I've been in the cannabis sector for 15 years, and I am continually trying new strategies, new combinations, new formulations, and I'm always pleasantly surprised by what I find. There's always new classics and land races returning to the shelves, and there's always so many interesting combinations. We've come a long way, and I really have to commend the producers, the legal producers, the small craft cultivators, and the people who have really fought. Live from our street level studio at 5 King Street East in Hamilton at Element, the cannabis tourism destination right downtown Hamilton. On this episode of Steeltown Sessions, we have the incomparable, the beautiful, the incredibly talented Doggy Locks. Okay, hold on. We must start it again. Okay, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, Dottie Locks.
Ontario. Don't distance. It's my it keeps me to get high. What it makes so that I so much better.
Welcome to Element Cannabis Superstore, 5 King Street East. Enjoy our daily power hour, 20% off everything. Proudly hosting the Deep Culture Steeltown Sessions. Welcome to Element Cannabis Superstore, 5 King Street East. Enjoy our daily power hour, 20% off everything. Proudly hosting the Deep Culture Steeltown Sessions.
We got more stops. This one's heavy. Almost there. Push it up.
You more in the camera frame. So hi there. Welcome back to. No. Today we're not. We're gonna try lightless. I noticed that the iPhone picks up phenomenal sound, and when we're on YouTube, the Android seems to pick up the sound enough. So I thought we would try one session, and viewers at home, let us know. We are going to work hard to enunciate and project, but we're a new show. We are a live show, and you would not believe the stuff that happens during a live show. We are joined today at Steeltown Sessions. I'm your host, Cy Williams. We're at the Element Cannabis Superstore at 5 King Street East. We are joined by our astrological guru, the wandering star herself, Vanessa, who's been coming in almost every show to give us a little bit of hope and guidance. And she's my guru, and she was telling us all last week about stuff that was happening, going to happen. And then I had the craziest week, Vanessa. It was full of change and some conflict, but people drawing lines in the sand, people drawing clear boundaries about what they wanted, what they didn't want. And there was this weird, almost electric vibe in the air. Thursday was this day, Wednesday night, Thursday. But just to tell me, you talked about this. What happened this week?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it was the build-up because the new moon in Aries, which was firing on all cylinders, was yesterday morning. So, that was turbocharged. I mean, you had, just to recap, because I know we talked about it last week, but it's the Sun and Moon, Mars, and Saturn and Mercury, and Neptune, and all in Aries, as well as wounded healer Chiron, and dwarf planet Eris. Forgot to mention, Eris in mythology, she's a little bit of a disruptor. She was the one who threw the golden apple.
Oh, I know that story. Yeah.
And started the Trojan War, and she causes chaos. She's kind of like the feminine rage, but it's not just blind rage. It's whenever she perceives injustice.
Oh, I like that. That's very divine feminine. I like that very much. I'm going to interject for a second. I read a book about Medusa, and that retold the tale with Medusa as the heroine and the protector, and not this monster. And it was such an amazing book, and such an amazing reframing of it. It reminded me of that empowered protector. And I saw in this book I was reading that Olympic period of goddesses. And traditionally, the goddesses haven't got a lot of good press. Hera was perceived, painted to be a certain way, over the top jealous, and there's other gods and goddesses in the pantheon. But it's wow to see people like writers and tellers of tales acknowledging the protector.
Well, sure, Medusa, I mean, she was done dirty.
She was done dirty.
It wasn't her fault that she became what she became.
Yeah, and I have to say I was so empathetic for the character, and I hated Theseus so much by the end, or the guy who was it Theseus? There was someone Perseus perhaps who came and wound up trying to cut off her head and attacking us. Some random dude breaks into your cave with a sword, and he's out for blood. Medusa was a misunderstood figure.
Well, there's another myth about that too, or another story where she was actually coveted by, I forget if it was Neptune, one of the gods, and and just kind of stole her away and assaulted her in the temple of, I think, Venus. I need to double check my facts here. And then Venus, or I forget, the goddess of that temple was not happy and blamed poor Medusa, and that was how that came about, and also cursed her. So yeah, Medusa is
That story is very similar to Persephone, and Hades fell in love with her, took her down to hell. Her mother died. Her mother was so upset that she refused to have spring. She's like, okay, no more spring. I want my daughter back. And they had to come up with a treaty. And then Persephone rose to be the goddess. I think even Hades himself feared and respected her, and it changed the power dynamic. And it's an amazing story, and I read it recently, and I'm like, oh wow, I didn't realize this was such a common theme. And again, it painted Persephone as a protector, and her mother as a protector, and against like Lord of Hell dragging you down to hell to be his consort. Or Lena and Zeus. That's also a lot of bad stuff. But we're not going to talk about that. This week was crazy. I also hear that a bunch of stars are in alignment, and one of the days there was a giant alignment.
Well, I mean, I know if that's the Aries stellium that was around the time of the moon, where you had, I mean, technically 7 if you count Eris, 8 planetary bodies all in Aries, and that's a lot of Aries energy.
The mathematical odds of something like that happening must be extraordinary.
Well, yeah, and also too, this is the only time Neptune will be in that posse in our lifetime, and so, or maybe one more time next year, but we've never had that before.
I'm going to be very nice to Neptune next year before it goes, because if I'm never going to see it again, I want to make sure I celebrate that.
Well, definitely, but a lot of that Aries energy, it's like half of it is go, and the other, the part with the Eris and the Chiron, of course, is healing this. He's wrapping up his journey. The wounded, the centaur, again, the flying poisoned arrow that didn't kill him, but he had to live with the wound, and the wounds in Aries has been about, us taking up space and getting over imposter syndrome, stuff like that, and then Eris is just, about sometimes it's okay to be a disruptor and speak the truth, even if it's not nice, especially if you're female, or feminine entity, and so what? Has to be said, and if it's for a good cause, she was Eris again, she was uninvited, the uninvited, and she just crashed a wedding.
Which is always fun to do. Always fun.
Especially when you stir things up with a golden apple, so.
Do you think all this change, it's all positive change, it's all people addressing what's going on in their lives, even me and the people I saw who were having extraordinary emotionally charged weeks, it all felt like it was change for the better. It was good boundary setting. It was people speaking up when they might have stayed quiet before, or saying, the toilet paper fire, we talked about this last week, that kind of inspired me. The people, I'm seeing people talk about, and it's the stars, but that's just indicative of what we are on the stars right now.
Yeah.
But tell me, is it going to be like this forever?
No, but there is a little bit just more coming up this week. I mean, luckily, right now the moon quickly, the night later on that night of the new moon moved into Taurus, so a bit more grounding, and we'll be in Taurus. Is in Taurus right now until around midday tomorrow.
Okay.
And then so that's tempering things a little bit, but right now we do have that Mars, Saturn, Mercury cluster. They're all sharing the same degree of Aries, and so, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just sometimes, I think I wrote in the horoscope that, Saturn's like the no fun police to Mars's hype man, wants to go. But right now Mars has the home game advantage, I guess, in his sign.
Yeah.
Saturn's not as strong, but what you can use Saturn. Any limitations, it's just kind of hold on, look before you leap, and make sure that everything, you're making mature decisions and not just going with the impulse.
I will quite often go with the flow, and I will quite often free ball it, wing it. This has definitely been a week that I didn't want to do that.
was tripping over myself. I was getting in my own way doing that. And I usually love that sort of, like even creating a live show, it's like, we're live, 100 things can go wrong, and sometimes most of them do, and we get activity in the window and in here, and I wonder, is that because Taurus is only with us for a little while, right? Leaves tomorrow. What does Taurus bring into our world today?
So this is just the moon right after. It was almost like kind of a little bit throwing a splash of water on the whole thing, and just let's get a little grounded because it's been a lot of fire energy, and then a little bit of Pisces, at the end of that Aries stellium, which has been a little confusing. But now, so the moon's, only spends 2.5 days in the sun. We have the sun. Taurus season starts on Monday, and so we're going to have a whole month with Taurus. So it's all about grounding and just taking a beat, taking a breath, getting back in touch with our bodies. And I know I'm a Gemini, you're a Virgo. It's really, I need to tell myself this constantly, but just be grounded in your body, hydrate, eat, get some rest.
That's some advice right now. I tried to ground myself yesterday, and I was flighty. My mind was going in a million directions. My normal techniques didn't work. Doing the dishes usually calms me down. Doing some art usually calms me down. Music, like friends and social things, and it's like I'm almost feeling that I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. So what do you advise for people who are having a hard time grounding and stopping?
Yeah, I know, because as someone who, once I get in my head, and it's hard for me too. For me, it's going out for a walk. I need to get my body on a long walk and just start moving. And it's something I forget to do sometimes. And it's just start moving, Gemini, get out of your head. And so I'll go for a walk for an hour or two if I can, and just that really helps. Otherwise, because it's hard to sit still or sit in a room and make that happen, I find.
It is. Do you recommend like I go barefoot? Is it better to go barefoot to touch the ground
That's always nice, but I just walk, with the sneakers and whatever works.
I don't know. I'm just feeling that perhaps it's a strange time, and I might need to take those extra steps to ground.
Well, also I can tell you what's going on too with that, because speaking of Taurus, we have our good friend Uranus is.
I love Uranus.
And of course, has been, as we've mentioned, also been in Taurus since 2018. Uranus shakes up and revolutionizes whatever it touches, and is like, come on, we need to change our system. So that's been affecting. Taurus represents our security, our stability, our finances, our trade, taxes, food supply. So right now, Uranus is, as we speak, at the 29th final degree of this sign, because on the 26th, so just a few days, moves into Gemini. No more Uranus and Taurus for a lifetime.
No way. So, we have to say goodbye to Uranus. I just learned that.
No, just a different sign. You don't have to say goodbye to the planet.
Good.
Yeah, no. We love this planet.
I kind of like what Uranus brings to the table when it's like, and I think I might like what Taurus is bringing to the table over the next little while too.
Well, it's just what's going on though with the intensity when you get the final degree of a sign, especially for an outer planet that's been in a sign for 7 or 8 years. Things intensify. That might be what you're feeling. It's just like things are ramped up, and then Venus is also, she has a quicker transit, just a couple months or so, but is ending her tour of Taurus. So on the 23rd, these two are going to both be at 29 Taurus meeting. So there might be some shakeups, because Venus, obviously is love and relationships, but is also finance, how we attract abundance, and our self-worth and our value system.
This isn't like a tower moment, though. It's like the equivalent to a tower moment coming up for people.
I wouldn't say necessarily a tower. Especially Venus is
much respect for Venus.
Yeah, and what it is though, it's these two, there might be that day too in the news, and who knows, there might be something else with trade or banking, because it's just the final kind of shaking, a shakedown. And then with Venus, it's I was saying to someone, if you have a relationship, for instance, that's you're on the fence about, and you've been like, should I stay, should it go? This is probably going to just bring a lot of clarity right around, either that day or right now leading up to it, or days
Hopefully
after.
that clarity comes in by way of a download or like a sudden realization. I love when that happens. Sometimes it takes a while to come to a realization about a certain thing that's bothering someone in their life.
Yeah.
what a good time, springtime. What a great time for this to happen.
Well, yeah, new beginnings, especially with the new moon we just had, but it might be a little bit of a jolt at first because, Uranus always wants us to be authentic, live authentically, and it's kind of this push-pull because it's like, are you sticking with something because it's familiar or because, and is that the reason, or is this what's true for you and aligned with your value system or where you're going, and then we're going to have at the end of the month we're going to have Mars at 5 degrees of the sun rather, at 5 degrees of Taurus, squaring off against Pluto at 5 degrees of Aquarius, creating this tension. So, as we're beginning Taurus season, collectively, our identity is all tied up in comfort and security. It's like, Taurus wants to just lie on its favorite couch and with a soft blanket and Netflix and chill. But Pluto and Aquarius is like, no. Yeah, you've got to get out of the comfort zone because otherwise you're never going to grow, you're never going to evolve.
This is great advice for all you viewers out there. Listen, this is the week. Take a step out of your comfort zone. Know that change is real, and it's one of the big real constants in our life, and that things all happen for a reason and for the greater good. At least we have some guidance to assure us that this is not going to be like this forever, and that it's leading into a very nice spring, and we will survive this.
Well, we will, and here's something good, because and also too, I just want to add, whenever there's a Pluto can be intense in a Pluto transit, but the degree of intensity I find in direct correlation to how much we resist or accept and go, like you said, go with the flow.
Oh, okay.
So don't resist. Something might be scary because we're human. As humans, we kind of like the familiar. We can't help ourselves. But it's just if you're pushed a little out of that comfort zone, just go with it. Trust it.
Okay.
And just see where it takes you. And also Venus, after meeting up with Uranus, is going to go right into Gemini before Uranus goes into Gemini, and that's going to lighten the mood a little bit.
Is that like May, early May?
No, that's going to be also later in the day on the 23rd.
Wow,
And
all the stuff happening right away.
Yeah.
Okay, what a great week it's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's like watching my favorite telenovela to see what's gonna happen in my life now. Because I've been trying to, I'm hesitating going with the flow, but I also need to embrace the fact that I have to go with the flow sometimes.
I know, and it's tough.
It is, it can be, but you know what, I'm optimistic. Thank you so much for coming in every week on Steeltown Sessions and sharing this little bit of astrological insight with me, with our viewers, and we can use all the help we can get, so I appreciate you very much for this.
My pleasure, and just one word of advice if you want a practical application before I go is to if you can look up your chart if you don't already know it, go on astro.com, punch in your info, they do free charts, and wherever 5 Taurus is, that might be where you need to be yanked out of your comfort zone, and when you look at where 5 Aquarius is, that's probably where the challenge is going to come if it's going to come at all.
Okay, so be prepared to be yanked out of our comfort zones and know that it's happening. Get ready for it. Brace yourself. Thank you, Vanessa. You can find Vanessa on TikTok, Facebook, The Wandering Stars.
Wandering Stars
Astrology. One of my favorite gurus, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
In beautiful downtown Hamilton. Right? Thank you so much. We'll be back after this break, and we're going to be joined by phenomenal musician Dottie Locks. She was an activist, advocate back in the OG days in Vancouver, pre-legalization. She's transitioned over to the legal market, and it turns out she is a phenomenal musician. So I'm going to bring Dottie Locks out here for a song or two, and stay lifted. Don't forget to come into Element and put in a raffle ticket for an opportunity to win a Puffco Peak. That's about $450 value, and it's Canacrawl today. So if you're not doing anything besides visiting us, head on over to Canacrawl. Over 80 speakers, tons of vendors, tons of activities, just minutes away from us here at 5 King Street East in Hamilton. Stay lifted. Catch you after a break. See my thumb.
Proudly hosting the Deep Culture Steeltown Sessions live show. Join our live recording and podcast. 20% off everything from 9 King Sing the Deep Culture Steeltown
Let's
Daily.
move, we got more stops. This one's heavy. Almost there, push it up.
From our street level studio, 5 King Street East in Hamilton. That's right on the corner of King and James, right downtown in Hamilton. You know what's happening today? It's Canna Crawl. Canna Crawl kicks off about 2 o'clock, just around the corner from here. Why don't you pop into Elements, say hi to me, check out this amazing cannabis tourism destination. Check out some of the amazing auxiliary products that they have on here. They have on sale here. Today is Saturday, so there's savings and specials on all things concentrates, oils, hashes, and more here at the Element Cannabis Superstore at 5 King Street East in Hamilton. There are daily deals that you should really be aware of. If you like saving money, and in this hard economy, how can you not want to save money? Every single morning between 9 and 10 a.m., 20% off everything in the store. And hey, are you Element does it once? They are passing those savings on back. If you haven't been down the corner of King and James in a while, this is the cannabis tourism destination that people are talking about. Carefully curated selections, the most beautiful store, the friendliest, most knowledgeable staff. I am broadcasting from the storefront window. It's a street level studio reminiscent of Q107 at the Hard Rock Cafe or CBC. And it is so neat for me to be out here up front looking at this beautiful, vibrant city, this big park in the downtown heart of Hamilton, Ontario, across the street from Jackson Square. This is where they put the stages for Super Crawl, for Art Crawl, and I understand through Crawl that's starting now. Canna Crawl is such a big event here in Hamilton, and it manages to promote unity in such a creative and inclusive way. A BIPOC-owned business. So two of the founders, Rena Rampersland, High Society Supper Club, and Anthony Foster, Hamilton Vape. They are like the heart and soul of the cannabis sector here in downtown Hamilton. In Hamilton, they're well loved in Ontario, in Canada, and internationally. These two people are advocates and activists, and they have been fighting since the very beginning for inclusion, for unity, and more passion for food culture with cannabis culture. Food culture with cannabis culture. And I remember, who remembers Weedstock? Remember Weedstock? It's one of those one-time only cannabis events. But that was the first time I saw Rena doing a live cooking demonstration. And I was just like aghast. I was like, wow, this is the future of cannabis in Canada. And every couple of months, I see something new that makes me think, wow, this is the future of cannabis in Canada. But back then, it was edibles, it was infused culinary dining, and it was Rena Rampersand, High Society Supper Club. She has fought harder than any other person that I know. And her and Anthony Foster, they've done a magnificent job of pulling Canna Crawl together. It is a very successful event. If those of you who don't know Anthony Foster, he is the smiliest person I know. He is the CEO and founder of Hamilton Vape. Yes, please. Two. What do you think? I'm getting coffee. Should I have 16 sugars? I am. This is an 24-hour session, 8 hours a day, 3 days in a row, and I am just hyped to be here in Hamilton, broadcasting live from our street-level studio at Element Cannabis at 5 King Street East. Canna Crawl happens today. People have been streaming into the store all day. They're excited about Canna Crawl. They're not really excited about the rain. And they're not really excited about the lack of sunshine. But despite that, people are in a great mood. They're getting ready for an exciting day of networking and sampling and connecting with community. And I'm looking forward to popping over later to Canacrawl and doing some man on the street, or we should call it Psy on the Street interviews at Canacrawl. I'm also going to be popping into the Puff and Paint, being hosted at Hamilton Vape in the venue that is adjacent or below Hamilton Vape. It is Sorrel from BC. She's been putting on a national Puff and Paint campaign, hitting various cities across Canada. People are having a good time. She is showing them how to combine their innate creativity with their innate enthusiasm and connoisseurness when it comes to cannabis. Because doesn't art and weed go hand in hand? Don't music and weed go hand in hand? It's like, oh, sorry, what you call it, weed? I digress. I'm an old school guy. I had worked tirelessly to teach myself to use the proper vernaculars, to use cannabis, to not refer to it as marijuana or the devil's lettuce or ganja or weed. The respect it deserves is to be called cannabis. And whether it's legacy cannabis, whether it is legal cannabis or sovereign or homegrown, we have to give it the respect due. We cannot continue to stigmatize it with these slang words and these slang ideas about who people who consume are. They're not lazy. They're not, some of the hardest working people I know consume on the regular. It is a viable treatment option for a lot of people, and we forget that the Canadian cannabis market has its roots within the medical system. And there are a lot of people still they are medically inclined. And yes, Canada has taken a very broad approach when it comes to recreational, but there is also a vibrant medical system. There's some good medical out there. Besides Canada supplying some of the best flower in the world to Canadians, Canada is one of the top EUGM exporters of some of the world's best flower to countries in Europe, to Australia, to New Zealand. They're breaking new ground in new countries, and they are leading by example, having survived trial by fire, trial as one of the most heavily regulated and taxed sectors in Canada. We have come out the other side a bigger, better, say better twice, bigger, better, better, bigger, better, bigger, better, cannabis space. Yeah, we made lots of mistakes. Yeah, the people who really probably shouldn't have been in the space, for the most part, they've exited. The shiny shoes, they're not trying to figure out how to grow anymore. We've figured out creative workarounds for some of the most restrictive marketing regulations I have ever seen anywhere. Despite heavy taxation and excise taxes and costs associated to get into the Canadian cannabis sector, despite barriers and challenges and changing laws and in a changing time, we have been evolving, and you should all be really proud of yourself for putting in the work, for continuing to be advocates and activists for the plant. And without all of you, without the grassroots activists, advocates, without the people coming out to the events, without the bud tenders, without the owners, the independent retailers, without the people who followed their dreams to be a part of this new sector, without all these people, without the people who protested so hard for change, so hard for medical, and so hard for some sort of change, all of the people who've come before us, to the people who hosted Pot TV, and all of the amazing cannabis media that came before me, from the Treating Yourself Expo, Magazine, Skunk, of course, High Times, which has gone through many incarnations. There have been so many great publications. Even Abby had Spliff at Hotbox Cafe. We have been finding ways to guerrilla market, to inform and educate Canadians, and it has been a long, long battle. But you know what? We're getting there. And that's a nice vibe, too, to know that we're actually making progress. We're making progress on quality. We're returning to our roots with a real eye on craft cannabis, and some of the best legacy growers who are doing small batch have switched over to legal. And we're seeing so much amazing flower coming out of British Columbia. One of my favorites, have you tried Sherbo from Rural Harvest, or anything from Pure Fire, or Woody Nelson, or my favorite event in British Columbia, hands down, is the Rosebud Bowl, in which some of Canada's best small batch craft cultivators, it's a side-by-side comparison, so you can really see the very best of what Canada has to offer. They center it around a big music festival, and that's the Unicorn Music Festival, and the Rosebud Cup is a big part of that. It's a big part of the culture out in British Columbia. There's so many bragging rights. There's so many cool things going on. Of course, Grow Up does the Canadian cannabis competition, which also looks at legal producers and what's good and what's the best out there. They usually have this panel of like the best judges, the most knowledgeable judges. Been to a couple of them now. And they are always so well attended. It's always so interesting to judge at a cannabis competition here in Canada. Another one that really made a splash last year was Kind Selections and their Winner Take All Cup. And I'm talking, everybody was talking about that. There are other trailblazers out there that are really, they're not asking for permission. They're not asking for forgiveness. They are trying to work it as best they can within a very tightly regulated market. And I got to take my hat off to any group out there organizing and setting up a cannabis themed event, sampling, or anything like that. Hats off to Book Club in Vancouver, who has been continually breaking ground with what they've done with Book Club and bringing in the community and the connoisseurs and the people who really know their stuff into these closed sessions so they can study what's out there and what's really good. Those are a lot of fun. That is something I would love to see out here in Ontario. I'd like to see that in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta. I want to see it everywhere. The people at Book Club are innovators. They are true leaders, leading by example, and holding up excellence, quality above all else. No bullshit. If you're ever in Vancouver, check out Book Club. You'll be very impressed. And the people, the quality of flower, the camaraderie that's available there. Now, another trailblazer that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, Adolfo and Julie from Collector's Cup, from Canna Reps. The Collector's Cup, a touring comparison event for connoisseurs and enthusiasts, as well as retailers. It was always well attended. I've been to Collector's Cups in Vancouver, Edmonton, Toronto, and I understand that they've had a lot. They've been a lot of them. I think they had 8, and they took a little breather. And CannaReps, of course, is one of the best known cannabis education platforms in Canada. They are renowned. I love walking into a store and see the CannaReps seal of certification or approval on some like really great independents, because these people at CannaReps, they know cannabis. They know it inside out. They know it better than me. And who better to trade your team, your staff, to educate you than the best of the best? See people put on the Collector's Cup. Sarah Sunday puts on an amazing she was a legacy event. Now it's a legal event, and it's like one of the big events every fall. And of course, for those of you who don't know, I'm talking about the Karma Cup. Karma Cup is the staple of staples, and it's the benchmark of all things this competition here in Canada. Sarah worked tirelessly to make it important to challenge unjust laws, to allow cultivators and extractors and true master class producers to go head to head to really show Canada what they had to offer. Sarah didn't ask for permission. Sarah didn't ask for forgiveness. Sarah pushed that out, and it pleases me to no end that she has managed to transition over into the legal market. So many exciting things. It makes me so happy to see friends of mine from legacy pre-legalization make the incredibly difficult shift to the legal market. It's costly. It's taxing. It's not for the weak of heart or the faint of heart by any stretch of the imagination. If you cannot pivot daily, if you do not have a wonderful sense of humor, if you get overly stressed at a million details and a million plates spinning, if overtaxation and regulation puts your panties in a knot, maybe it's not for you. But all the people who did, who managed to make that incredibly difficult transition over from legacy to legal, to all of my friends out there who found positions within the independent cannabis retail sector, that's province to province. There are so many great people who wanted to be a part, who know their stuff, and they're independent cannabis retailers, and I love independent cannabis retailers. Say what you will, the chains are great. You can go to McDonald's, you can go to Wendy's, but I prefer a mom and pop place, an independent retailer. I try to support independent retailers. They really do have an eye and fingers on the pulse of our sector. And I can't always say that for some of the big chains where sometimes they're pushing bargains or they're pushing this shotgun approach to curation where they carry absolutely everything. And I've discovered in my travels around Canada that there are cannabis tourism destinations in almost every region, and they're all, for the most part, 80% of them are independent cannabis retailers. Violet Wild in Chemainus, British Columbia. Smoke Signals in Vancouver. Green Barn in Oxbow, Saskatchewan. Green Bouquet in Cottage Country. Cannabis Hut in Scarborough. And of course, my favorite one of all, the all-time cannabis tourism destination, and not just because I'm broadcasting live from my street-level studio here at Element Cannabis Superstore, it's because this is the evolution of where I wanted to see independent retailers go. Not hiding on side streets, not with big windows that are covered for whatever reason Bill Blair decided to cover them. Yes, diversion. We didn't want kids looking. But listen, it's wonderful to be sitting in such a public spot, to be broadcasting in front of this window full of busy people on a busy street in a busy downtown core. We broadcasted from basements, from underground cultivations, from fields, from the road, from trailers, and It's just this show that has allowed me the opportunity to be front facing and forward, to be proud and really do something different, to incorporate cannabis into all of culture, not just cannabis. Cannabis enhances all culture, and Hamilton is such a great city for that. It has the most vibrant musical community that I have seen in my travels across Canada. Toronto's impressive, but that's sheer numbers and sheer volume. You want raw local talent, there are the Arkells, was it Walk Off the Earth, Ty Price Band, the Killing Time Band, Mary Simon and Mississippi Benz, the Keep Live Alive program. So many live venues for you to catch amazing live music, intimate acts. I got to see it was a Gene Benoit a couple months ago. Blow my mind! What an amazing performer! Hamilton loves its music. It loves its live music. It loves its venues. Almost loves its music as much as it loves its cannabis. It also loves its parties. So today is Canna Crawl. Starts at 2 o'clock. They have, I believe, over 80 speakers. They have a big vending area. They have all sorts of activities and fun. And for the last week, I've been hearing people from around Ontario saying, hey, I can't wait to go to Canna Crawl. This is a staple. Hamilton has been the heart of cannabis culture in Ontario for some time, and in the eyes of myself, in the eyes of my team, in the eyes of High Canada Magazine, and so many others. And if you've never experienced Hamilton, why don't you take a little cannabis tourism journey? Head out on the GO train to beautiful, sunny, warm, artsy, musical Hamilton, Ontario. You can take a GO train there. Minutes from the downtown core. There is a vibrant cannabis sector. There's a vibrant arts sector. The Junos were here a few weeks ago, and the streets were packed. It was really amazing to see Hamilton really turn up and turn out for the Juno Awards. And I've never seen so many happy people and celebrating what Hamilton has become. And because I've been doing the Steeltown Sessions show, and I've been so in love with Hamilton lately, having this little love affair and wooing Hamilton and whispering compliments to Hamilton every time I can. I've been trying to find these little gems about Hamilton. And I started noticing on all my news feeds that Hamilton's been getting some serious love, not just from me, from many other people, many other feeds. And I'm loving the fact that we are living through this renaissance right now. Aren't you? Isn't it cool to be in a renaissance? The Reed Rush was fun, but this is a mature market that is continuing to grow and evolve. We don't know what's going to happen. Things change all the time. The biggest thing I hear from cannabis entrepreneurs in the Canadian and international cannabis space is that if you can't think on your feet, if you are unable to pivot, it probably isn't the industry for you, because changes can happen overnight. It's a strange new world, and we are essentially still a brand new sector and industry. Bill Blair, when he did his tour around Canada pre-legalization to get a feel for how Canadians wanted legalization, he did a tour, he visited a bunch of places, talked to a bunch of people. When he finished the tour, he told everybody that he was going to go in with a very tight grip. He told us what he was going to do. It was going to be heavily regulated. It was going to be heavily enforced, and it was going to be such a tight grip that we would hate him. But then eventually, when we worked out the kinks, he would do something that people wouldn't expect from Bill Blair. He would release. And I find it interesting from a media perspective, watching what's happening in Canada, what's happening in the United States of America, what's happening in Europe. And times are changing. The coverings are off windows. It's safer for employees. The quality level has gone up. The testing level has gone up. We have the most highly educated connoisseurs and enthusiasts of all sectors, with maybe the exception of, cigar smokers who can taste what field it was grown in Cuba. Cannabis enthusiasts are like that. We know our stuff. We will not accept substandard products that just think that anybody can grow weed, anybody can curate a good strain or extract or concentrate or health and wellness product for the market. They don't understand that this heavily regulated market, pre-legalization and now, has made us one of the most finely tuned and highly critical sectors out there. Now, I'm in my late 50s, and I know a little bit about social media, but what do you know about Reddit? Now, Reddit is a place that can make or break a cannabis brand. They have these Ask Me Anything events. Seems like Reddit, sometimes Twitter, there's no need for that filter. People are brutally honest. There's feedback being given from connoisseur to connoisseur. And I have literally seen brands destroyed overnight by bad Reddit. But I've also seen brands celebrated and become icons and classics overnight because the Reddit community saw and recognized excellence. Oh, so do you like my raspy Betty Davis voice? My producer just passed me a lozenge. I have the best producer in the world. Looks after me, makes sure that I have all my essentials, make sure I get to step out for my high boys, because this show wouldn't go anywhere without high boys. He smokes my cannabis with me. He takes me to parks. He is a good producer, and he makes Steeltown Sessions happen. I may be the pretty face, I may be the raspy voice, but my producer is the real heart of cannabis, real heart of Steeltown Sessions. And if you're lucky enough to meet him one day, you'll feel the way I do about him. But okay, we're going to talk about other things. I don't want to gush over the guy. I don't want to make him blush or anything. We have some guests coming up. Our wandering star astrological guru Vanessa is joining us to talk about what 420 holds for the stars, what the stars hold for 420, what this next week of spring brings for us. And then we have the incredibly talented Dottie Locks. Dottie was an OG activist and advocate from Vancouver. She's out here in Ontario. She's made the switch to legal. She has been fighting stigma most of her life. She is an amazing musician with the loveliest voice that I have heard in a long time. And I've known Dottie a bit. When I heard her sing, I haven't used this word in a while, flabbergasted. And for the millennials who don't know what flabbergasted is, it's kind of like gobsmacked, or maybe it's a good use of 6'7", perhaps. Dottie Locks performing about 2:30. We have our wandering star astrological guru joining me in a few minutes. She's going to fill us in on all things stars for the next week or so through 420 and into this spring. And I can't wait for all the cool things that we're going to do later today. Don't forget, we're giving away a Puffco Peak. That's right. This is like a $450 value. We're giving it away on 420 at 420. So if you're in the Hamilton downtown area, if you're an Element regular, if you just want to come check out this cannabis tourism destination and see for yourself what I've been bigging up and talking about, I'm not just like a radio guy at a used car lot. I'm here by my own free will and choice, and I love watching the evolution of cannabis tourism happening, and I love being a part of it. So Puffco Peak, come put in an entry, come take advantage of the sales that go on every day. Today is Saturday. Sales and discounts on all things concentrate, hash, and extract. And if this is Dottie Locks, if you're having a hard time finding parking, there is ample parking around the King and James area. There's parking behind our row. There's parking down King. There's parking down James. We can't wait to hear you. Okay, I'm going to take a short commercial break. I'm going to go get Vanessa, the Wandering Star astrological guru, bring her on set, and we're going to find out what the stars hold for all of us. Good things, always good things.
Welcome to Element Cannabis Superstore, 5 King Street East. Enjoy our daily power hour, 20% off everything. Proudly hosting the Deep Culture Steeltown Sessions.
We got more stops. This one's heavy. Almost there, push it up.
Superstore located at 5 King Street East in Hamilton. That's downtown Hamilton. Today's show, we have the incomparable, the beautiful, the incredibly talented Dottie Locks.
A sound that resonates with the pulse of the streets. This is more than music. Steeltown Sessions. Unleash your night. Feel the rhythm.